I have gone into the Violator. I've seen all the different versions of Spawn where he becomes ultimate god Spawn and blows up like the earth and then rebuilds the earth. I have seen all sorts of stuff, but I haven't seen like an actual breakdown of how powerful Spawn is. How much of a Giga Chad is Spawn? We need to know this for all the lore going forward. For all of what I plan to jump through, all these pits of slime mucus land, I need to be in every single issue of all the lore of this man, and we need to get into it. I want to know how powerful is Spawn, and this is by Variant Comics.
What's up, my comic comrades? One of the most fun things to talk about in comics is how powerful characters are. So today we're going to talk about the most successful independent comic book character ever, Spawn. If you want to know more about Spawn's backstory before learning about how powerful he is, check out our History of Spawn episode right here. But now let's start listing a bunch of examples and demonstrations of how powerful Spawn really is. First up, we have the time Spawn cut off Malebolgia's head. Why is this so impressive? Because Malebolgia is one of the major lords of hell, and
Dude, yes! I've been like, dude, just like Malebolgia was over here like, you can't kill me because I'm too cool. Now, if you don't know, Malebolgia is like the ultimate king, like kind of one of the ultimate kings of hell. Now, he's not Satan, but he's up there as one of the big bads. And he's kind of the one that sits over the plebeian brothers, which is where like the Violator, the clown guy, comes in. Like, go check out my other videos on the lore, but dude, just knowing that he just fucking outskied Malebolgia is so sick.
Spawn's master. So I'd say beheading one of the highest ranking demons in hell is very impressive. Spawn also once punched the head off another Hellspawn. Essentially, he punched the head off another version of himself. Now everyone—
That was Billy Kincaid, dude. Dude, what he did to Billy Kincaid was so wild. It was so amazing, and I'm still a little upset that they like toned down what happened to Billy Kincaid in the cartoon, because Billy Kincaid was a kid lover. He was an EDP 445, and Spawn, and he used to like trick kids into his truck because he would give them ice cream, and Spawn was like, I'm gonna stab you to death with popsicle sticks. Oh, so glorious. Billy Kincaid is one of the most vile villains of all time. And then he becomes a Spawn, all because of one of the brothers. One of the brothers of the Violator was like, we're going to give you another chance here, buddy. And made him fat dumb Spawn.
Knows vampires are pretty dang powerful, right? Well, Spawn made easy work of several of them all at the same time. I know we're going through these pretty quick, but that's because we have a lot to get through, so let's continue moving this train. Now, we all know Violator is easily one of the most well-known Spawn villains, and we often see him in the form of a demonic-looking clown. Well, Spawn has easily knocked him around on more than one occasion, which again is really impressive because he's an extremely powerful demon.
Yeah, but like, I feel like we've gone a little backwards here. We should have started with Violator before Malebolgia, because Violator is Malebolgia's little bitch boy, dude. Malebolgia bends the Violator over a bucket all the time and just uses him whenever he needs to relieve some stress. And the fact that we didn't start with the Violator getting his ass kicked to Kingdom Come all the time is kind of an L.
Spawn's suit is also capable of healing itself by drawing evil from other creatures. Speaking of, Spawn's suit could pretty much do anything, like grow spikes, wrap itself around an entire car, block all sorts of gunfire, jump in the air while supporting several people. It could even self-camouflage and retract into Al Simmons' body. It's essentially a symbiote, which makes sense as the creator of Spawn, Todd McFarlane, also co-created Venom. As we all know, part of Spawn's costume is his cape, which can both act as an offensive and defensive weapon. He can pretty much manipulate his cape to do whatever he wants. It's essentially an extension of himself. Same thing with his chains. He can manipulate them in any way he—
By the way, one of the most fun things in the world is the Spawn game. Now, eventually I want to get the Spawn game again, and I want to play it on this channel, do a whole review on it, because I remember playing it as a kid and loving it so much.
Sees fit, and they're strong enough to break Violator's teeth. Spawn and his suit are also incredibly fast. For instance, his chains were said and have been proven to be faster than bullets. Spawn's movements are so quick, he's been stated to just be a crimson blur from the shadows. He's also dodged energy attacks from point blank range. He's so fast, he was once shown to defeat an entire military crew all by himself before a bomb was going off in under 50 seconds. Obviously, we're not talking flash speed here, but incredibly fast by normal standards nonetheless. But I think this next one is super impressive. He once unloaded a gun someone was pointing at their head before that person, Twitch to be exact, could even realize it. I mean, that's pretty dang quick.
That's like almost flash speed, dude. That's almost flash speed. That dude was like he's on another level, bro.
Spawn is also incredibly mentally tough, as he was once forced to relive hundreds of memories all at once, and it didn't drive him crazy. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that would drive 99.99% of people crazy, because that's crazy. Now, Spawn being a Hell Spawn, which is from Hell, obviously means he's weak to angelic and heavenly weapons. But once he broke his allegiance with Heaven and Hell, he became no longer weak to angelic weapons. I don't know about you guys.
Bro just alt F forward and just got all of the fucking god powers. He was like, I'm out. I don't give a fuck. I'm here, and now nothing hurts me. What the fuck? He just put in the hacks and just stopped having weakness. Could you imagine if Superman one day was like, yeah, by the way, fuck kryptonite. It was a mindset, bro, and I don't live in that mindset. That makes Superman a bitch, dude. Superman can't, like, right here. Hold on. Superman's over in this little bottom corner right here. He's a little cuck boy. He's a little cuck silly boy who has a weakness. And Spawn's like, imagine being a pussy and having a weakness that you can't just get over, little bitch.
But I find that incredibly impressive. It's the equivalent of saying a cross in holy water doesn't work on a vampire. At that point, then what does? Now, Spawn has an incredible healing factor, but I do have to mention the time that Batman, during their crossover, threw a batarang right into the middle of Spawn's face. Batman did this right after Spawn said, "What do you say we bury the hatchet?" And Batman says, "Bury this." Now,
okay, by the way, that is from the Frank Miller written, but Todd McFarlane illustrated Batman versus Spawn. It is that there is two Batman versus Spawn. There is the one that was made by DC Comics, which is trash. It is garbage. Spawn can't fight Batman because his powers don't work because Batman's too good of a guy. Retarded, absolute brainlet abilities. I hated that comic book. I thought it was so dumb. But the Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane Batman vs. Spawn peak. It is so good. The cheesy moments that Frank Miller can write into something are played so well, and it's Sin City Spawn. It's so good, dude. It's so good. I love that comic.
Spawn could have easily healed himself with his energy, but instead he used a shoelace to stitch his face back together. I realize this is not a super powerful moment. I just had to mention it because it's just a super iconic Spawn moment, and he kept the shoelace in his face for quite a while, which always reminded us fans of the time Batman threw a batarang into Spawn's face. And I gotta say, I think the real world reason for that is Todd McFarlane wanted to remind the world that his creator-owned character got so popular he crossed over with Batman. Obviously, that's just my personal guess, but if that is the case, who could blame him? One incredibly cool and
But again, this wasn't the first time that they crossed over. They did do a DC. It might have been around the same time, but the DC one fucking is not very good.
Powerful thing about Spawn that the average fan doesn't know is that Al Simmons died and made a bargain with Malebolgia in order for him to come back to life. Now, obviously, up until this point, every Spawn fan knows that. That's his origin. But he was tricked, and every soul that died within the same hour he did was placed inside of his Hellspawn, meaning he now had around 6,000 souls within him. And when those souls were reawakened, it allowed Simmons, aka Spawn, to control them. That's right, he made those souls serve him. This effectively made him Legion Spawn. Let me tell you something. It's terrifying. Dude basically has
Dude, this wasn't in the variants, bro. This wasn't in the variants at all, bro. Hey, there was another Spawn that is just a legion of other Spawns inside of himself. And you didn't put this in the variant video? What are we doing here? This is sick.
Army of Spawns at his disposal. This is the kind of stuff that unless you're a Spawn fan, you probably don't know, because a lot of people don't realize Spawn, the character, has a very rich backstory. Though he was created in the 90s, the character has had over 300 consecutive issues to date with not one single reboot and still going strong.
Okay, so it is a continual story. But it hasn't ended yet, I don't think. I mean, I can look it up here in a second, but if it's still going, that's insane.
Anyway, let's get back to powerful moments. Spawn also possesses hell magic. This means he could bring the dead back to life and summon and control flames. He could also use it to draw the sin and evilness from people and then turn it on them, like that one time he did it in the form of bats. Oh, and did I mention he could spit spiritual acid? So that's a thing. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but he has one of the best healing factors in all of comics. A dude could straight up replace his heart by just picking a heart off the ground, then putting it back inside of him with it.
So what I looked up here, we'll pull up here. Spawn is, there's no definitive ending coming up. Spawn series is ongoing, created by Todd McFarlane in 1992. Knows how but not when Spawn will end. So this is in 2019. Well, we can read this real quick. Todd McFarlane knows how but not when Spawn will end. Let's get that being said, Todd McFarlane also made it clear that should the need arise, he knows exactly how the story of Al Simmons will come to an end. Of course, the award-winning comic book creator offered no details and only said, I have the last issue of Spawn in my head. I do. I hope I don't have to write it because the only reason you would write it is because the world doesn't want to see your character anymore, and so it's time to put them to bed. Ooh. Ooh, that's sad. That would be a sad thing to do. Why not that, or like Todd McFarlane gets like sick and is dying? I feel like is another reason he would write it and just kind of be his send off.
He could spit spiritual acid, so that's a thing. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but he has one of the best healing factors in all of comics. Dude could straight up replace his heart by just picking a heart off the ground, then putting it back inside of him with his magic. And if healing himself wasn't impressive enough, he could also heal other people, like the time he healed Batman who was about to die. As for just listing his powers in general, because I know a lot of you like to hear that stuff, here's a brief rundown. He's got time manipulation, teleportation, shape-shifting, flight, hypnosis, magic, telekinesis, phasing, fire generation and manipulation, and dimensional manipulation.
Bro, it's just got so many fucking powers, dude. Dude, Spawn is the most overpowered fucking hero of all time. Basically, Todd McFarlane was like, we need a new power. New power dropped. New power drop. He has 3 penises. They all shoot high-powered cum projectiles. Why did you need to add that? Because what else could I fucking give him at this point?
Which enables him to open portals to heaven and hell. Spawn also has his own version of the Penance Stare, but it's different than Ghost Rider's. Instead of pain from the people that person hurt put on them, Spawn's lets the souls of the people you hurt rip your soul apart, and you feel it both spiritually and physically. He's basically a more badass Ghost Rider. That's right, I said it. He's more badass than Ghost Rider. But getting back to the actual example.
Well, I mean, obviously he's more badass than Ghost Rider. He has all the fucking powers. Like, Ghost Rider is one of the most overpowered creators or heroes in all of Marvel, right? So I remember during World War Hulk, I used to get comics as a kid, and I remember during World War Hulk, Ghost Rider was just chilling. He was doing his thing because I was getting the Ghost Rider issues, and there was a World War Hulk Ghost Rider issue where they smash up and they start fighting, and Doctor Strange was like one of the only people that could beat the Hulk like handily is Ghost Rider, but Ghost Rider has no reason to fight the Hulk because he's not really evil, right? He's not there with evil intentions. The Hulk is just in Ghost Rider's way. Well, he's bro's on a road trip. Hulk gets in his way. He fucking smacks up the Hulk a little bit and then drives the fuck off because he does not care. And the fact that that can't even hold a fucking candle to Spawn is insane.
Examples of power, Spawn was shown to have the power to control nature, all Swamp Thing style, which is absolutely nuts. Speaking of nuts, these last few I'm gonna end with are incredibly nuts, like the time Spawn defeated Urizen. Urizen is an immortal god whose origins date back to the start of the universe. He quite literally existed before heaven and hell. And what's crazier than that is his only purpose was to end existence by consuming souls. He was such a force to be reckoned with, heaven and hell had to team up to stop him. You heard me, he's so dang evil and powerful, heaven and hell had to work together. But eventually, Spawn with the chains of hell, along with the ribbons of heaven, was able to bring down Urizen, with the only thing remaining of him being his giant fingers sticking out of the ground looking like stone. But this is where we go to full-on crazy town, people, because when Spawn became Divine Spawn, his powers reached an all-time high. As Divine Spawn, he used his now godlike power to destroy all of heaven and hell's forces.
He literally locked Satan and God into a room so that they could gangbang each other for the rest of eternity, just 69 style, while he blew up the world and just recreated it. Because he's like, well, these guys are tearing up the entire world. I might as well just let them kill the world, and I'll just create everything from scratch because these guys are a bunch of little pussies. He basically put God and Satan in timeout and said, let me just recreate the world real quick. I'm God now.
And then reconstructed all of Earth. On top of that, if that wasn't enough, he then proceeded to trap God and Satan on their own world, forcing them to fight forever. He basically sent the Lord and Beelzebub to their rooms like children, and then
Not a pre-watch moment. I called it first, but he didn't put as many weird like homoerotic jokes into it. I did, so you're welcome. But he basically treated them like little fucking toddlers.
recreated the world. But with all of that, I hope you guys now have a better understanding of how powerful Spawn truly is. But as always, let us know what you guys think of Spawn in the comment section down below, as well as what characters you would like to see get a How Powerful Is episode. But just
Dude, the most broken fucking character of all time. He is the most overpowered character of all time. We will eventually, and now I already think that Spawn's gonna win this battle, but we will watch this one day. This will be on my lore list. I am very excited to get into more Spawn lore. I am having so much fun with this. We are going to see a lot of lore dives on this video, or on this channel. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Who do you want to see? What's a lore that you want me to dive? What butthole do you want me to crawl up into and find out what's actually going on in their colon? But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.